Welcome to another episode on our channel. I have a pretty good World War II collection and a World War I collection. I've been trying to beef up my Revolutionary War collection and my Civil War collection. So we're going to see a Confederate soldier today. But with recent episodes, I did focus on the Revolutionary War that lasted from 1775 to 1783, 8-year war that you get different numbers depending on what source you consult with, but a trusted source indicated that 25,500 plus Americans died in that conflict, and about 24,000 British soldiers died in that conflict, along with 7,500 Hessians who fought alongside the British soldiers. So it was a costly war on both sides. And it lasted 8 years. That's a long time. The Civil War was 1861 to 1865. So just a touch under 4 years, half the time of the Revolutionary War. But the loss of life was even more devastating. It was 500,000 deaths on both sides, Union and Confederate. And the war was prompted. It was primarily driven by two forces, from what I understand: abolition, freeing of the slaves. The southern states can see their livelihoods continue without slavery. The Union side had kind of moved beyond that. But the other major issue driving the war was keeping the Union together. So 34 states, 11 succeeded from the 34, starting with South Carolina. There were 4 and then 5 border states. So we had Delaware, Maryland, West Virginia, who became a border state about halfway or past the halfway point of the war. And then Kentucky and Missouri. So they were slave states, but they wanted to preserve the Union. So it was, again, not as long as the Revolutionary War, but more devastating and probably more traumatic in the sense that if you were formal military, you were trained at West Point. So individuals on both sides knew each other. They were probably friends. So friends fighting against friends, and sometimes brothers against brothers. So a very, very traumatic war with a tremendous loss of life. Sad part of our history. But I wanted to add to the collection. This is a Jude Law head. Now, it wasn't a good likeness, the best likeness of Jude Law. You could tell it was Jude Law, but it wasn't the best likeness. It was a fairly good head sculpt, but not the best likeness. So when I'm not in love with a head sculpt, I either change it or I sell it. And in this case, it was a good enough head sculpt to encourage me to change it. So I put a Van Dyke mustache and beard on him. I filled in his receding hairline. I initially used him as a third musketeer, and then I got a hold of a Wentworth Miller head sculpt, did the Van Dyke thing on him, and he ended up becoming my third musketeer, and he looks, I must say, brilliant. And I thought Jude Law would look brilliant as a Civil War soldier. So he is the Confederate soldier here. Now, there is one thing that's obviously wrong with this setup, and it's this flintlock musket. I have a cap pouch here with the cartridge wrappings in the bag here. That wouldn't be, the caps wouldn't be used with the flintlock, but they did start out technically with a number of Confederate soldiers with muskets, but since I put this pouch on him, I should have a percussion rifle on him, but I don't have an extra one, so I just put this one in his hands. This backpack was a different color originally, but I just had my husband paint it black, and then I used some felt to create a bedroll over it. I actually made, or had my husband cut a piece of a dowel to make a canteen. So I have a canteen that's made here. You'll see it when we go around. It's painted to match the kepi that I have on him. The kepi was originally a Confederate kepi that I changed into a Union kepi to match one of my Union soldiers. And then I found a Union soldier hat for sale, and I got it. So I repainted this to match him. So I'm a happy camper. So with that, we'll pause, get him on a table, turn tray, so we can see him from different angles. So I'll just share something my husband just shared with me about the flintlock musket versus the percussion rifle. When you moved from one to the other, which the Union did, and the flintlock musket has a smooth bore, whereas the percussion musket had a different type of ammunition, but it had a spiraling bore. So you moved from 100 yards accurate to 500 yards accurate, 200 yards effective to 1,000 yards effective. That's the need for this guy to have a percussion rifle versus a flintlock musket. So we'll just go around. He does have that flintlock coming into view of the dowel canteen with a little piece of wood here to represent the opening, elastic around it to make it look more like a canteen. And of course, it has to match his hat. Let me get him straighter. There we go. All right. So on the back, you can see the back of the backpack with the bedroll. And here's again, if he had a percussion rifle, the cartridges would be in this pouch. And of course, the caps would be in this pouch. He has a Confederate buckle on, of course, the kepi hat. And, he's just in a pose, getting ready to take a cap out of his pouch, pretending this is a percussion rifle after he's loaded the rifle. So there you go. We'll pause now and get some tighter close-ups from here on up. So here's Jude Law with the Van Dyke mustache and beard, finding new life as a Confederate soldier. Again, wrong weapon. This should be a percussion rifle since I have a cap pouch, which would be used after you've loaded the gun to fire it. He has a CS buckle here, Confederate States. And there's the canteen that was made out of wood, basically, a wooden dowel. And let's see if I can turn it slightly so you can, let me see, there we go, with the little opening there. A little piece of wood that's painted silver. And of course, the other pouch that would hold the cartridges for a percussion rifle. All right, and he's like he's getting ready to get into that cap pouch. I really have to get a percussion rifle to make this right, but this is the best I could do today. So we'll just go side to side here. And I'll also show you the head sculpt without the hat. It's a wonder what you can do with Magic Sculpt. So we'll stop right there and we'll pause and get the hat off. Again, you can do a lot with Magic Sculpt. Just add some creases. And there you go. Here's one last look at our figure. I hope you've liked what you've seen. If you have, consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. In the meantime, everyone, please have a great day.